Right from the golden age, cheating has been rampant in Hollywood, and so many celebrities trampled on their marital vows to experience the thrill of an affair. From having affairs with their housekeepers to having affairs with hundreds of women, the celebs of the golden age did the unthinkable. Interestingly, some of these secret affairs led to the birth of love children, most of which they attempted to keep hidden from the public. But as you know, the truth always finds its way out. Here are some love children who were birthed through secret affairs and brief relationships. Jonathan Berkeley. Some know Tom Jones as that respected judge on The Voice UK with a seasoned voice, while others know him by his accomplishments in the industry. The Welsh singer is no doubt one of the most phenomenal singers Hollywood has ever produced. With a career that has spanned decades, the singer was known to have a string of top 10 hits in the 1960s and has successfully sold over 100 million records over the years. While his accomplishments are undoubtedly impressive, there is a side of Tom Jones's life that most people find daunting. Beyond the fame and his many accomplishments as a singer, Jones spent most of his early years in Hollywood doing things that a married man should not be seen doing. His many affairs with several women left his wife broken-hearted, and one of the affairs resulted in a son, Jonathan Berkeley. Tom Jones married high school love Linda Trenchard in the 1950s, before his career took off. Although they were madly in love with each other, nothing prepared them for the challenges that would unfold in their marriage. The first few years of their marriage seemed normal until Jones became a successful singer and the rumors about his infidelity began to circulate. Interestingly, Tom Jones didn't deny the rumors, as he claimed to have had affairs with over 250 women in a single year when his career was at its peak. It seems like his fame came with a lot of attention from women, and he was unable to control himself. The singer even had affairs with famous American women, some of whom he named later on in life. His deeds left his wife devastated, and soon enough, he got into an affair that came with consequences. While the singer was on tour in the U.S., he began an affair with a model named Catherine Berkeley. He probably thought it was going to be like one of his numerous affairs, but soon enough, Catherine Berkeley got pregnant. When he was informed about the pregnancy, he denied it, claiming that he didn't get her pregnant. Despite his refusal to take responsibility, Catherine was convinced that he was the father of her child. Tom Jones continued to ignore her as he believed that she was lying against him. Catherine Berkeley would later take the matter to court, and after a legal battle, Tom Jones was ordered to take a DNA test in 1989. After the test, the court ruled that Jones was the father of the boy. The court also ordered him to pay child support of $3,000 a month for the child's upkeep. But despite the court's verdict, Jones continued to deny the boy until 2008, when he finally admitted that he was the father of the boy. However, he said that he was coerced into the affair, claiming that Catherine Berkeley deceived him. In a later interview, he said, "It wasn't something I had planned. I was tricked, really. I just fell for it. I just fell for the seduction." It is said that he doesn't have a parental relationship with his son, who is now in his 30s. Eric Preminger, A Vow of Silence. Back in the 1940s, Gypsy Rose Lee was a name that was known all over Hollywood for many reasons. One of these reasons was the fact that she had an affair with a famous producer, which led to the birth of a love child named Eric. But before her life got complicated, she was a young woman who liked to live life on the edge. Gypsy wasn't just an actress and playwright. She had gone ahead to carve her own path through her famous striptease act. Gypsy considered herself to be an exotic stripper, and she usually found ways to make her act more interesting. She was also famous for her on-stage wit and stripping style. She would go on to become one of the most famous stars of Minsky's burlesque, but dancing was not all she did. In the 1930s, she was focused on growing her acting career, but only got to appear in 5 films. Although she was highly ambitious, she didn't get much success on screen, so she decided to relocate to New York City with plans to hone her skills and hopefully improve her career. On getting there, she got into an affair with the then-famous producer Mike Todd. It was said that Mike Todd was married to Bertha Freshman at the time. The affair would later lead to collaboration as the pair co-produced the 1942 musical revue, Star and Garter. It was during this period that she met Williams Alexander Kirkland. Kirkland was a leading man in Hollywood, particularly during the early sound era. In the early years of his career, he worked as a freelance writer and was said to be one of the writers who contributed to some popular national magazines. He garnered most of his fame through his acting career, appearing as a leading in Tarnished Lady and entertaining his audiences through movies like Social Register. He was still making waves as an actor when he met Gypsy. The pair got married in 1942, but their union didn't last long. While Gypsy was married to Kirkland, she got into an affair with the then-famous film producer, Otto Preminger. It was said that Otto Preminger's marriage to his wife Marion was shaky at the time. He was still married, but living like a bachelor. When he and Gypsy got into an affair, they intended to keep it a secret, but their affair didn't stay hidden for long. When Gypsy got pregnant, she knew she had to find a way to hide what she had done so that her husband would not find out. So, when Otto Preminger offered to take care of the child, she refused. His silence was far more valuable to her than any amount of money he was offering, so she elicited a vow of silence, pleading with Preminger to keep the secret between them. When she gave birth to the child, she named him Eric Kirkland, and her husband believed he was the father of the child. However, the truth eventually came out, and this led to the end of her marriage to Kirkland. Damien Charles Hurley. In the early 1980s, 18-year-old Steve Bing was given an inheritance that automatically made him wealthier than most celebrities at the time. He inherited over $600 million from his grandfather, who was a real estate developer, and went on to become one of the most successful film producers in Hollywood in the following years. But despite all the wealth he amassed, he rejected a son that he fathered with an actress, claiming that he was not the father of the child. Although he was wealthy, Bing was the kind of man who only channeled his resources to ventures and things that he considered important or profitable, and when it came to his personal life, many people questioned his personal choices. In the entertainment industry, he made waves through his company, Shangri-La Entertainment. He is also said to have invested in the successful animated film called The Polar Express. Bing also produced films like Last Man Standing, and it was clear that made smart investment choices in the industry. However, when he was not being a financier or working as a producer in the industry, he was settling his personal issues. Of all the scandals that circulated about the producer, denying the paternity of his child was the most shocking. In 2001, the producer got into a relationship with actress Elizabeth Hurley, and this relationship led to her getting pregnant. From every indication, Bing wanted nothing to do with the child, so he told Elizabeth to terminate the pregnancy. The actress refused and decided to keep the baby, hoping that Bing would come around. When the baby was born, Bing denied paternity, claiming that he and Elizabeth had an 18-month-long relationship that was not exclusive. He believed that she was not faithful to him while they were dating, so he doubted that the child was his. Elizabeth was sure that Bing was the father of her child, so she decided to do a DNA test to prove that he was the father of her son, Damien Charles Hurley. Interestingly, the test proved that Bing was indeed the father of the child, and this was when the producer decided to pay child support. He offered to pay 100,000 euros every year till the child turned 18 years old. But to his greatest surprise, Elizabeth refused his offer. She claimed that her and her son were doing just fine and that they didn't need his money. She also revealed that she was deeply hurt by the fact that Bing claimed that she had other lovers while they were dating. She also expressed the fact that Damien, her son, was her greatest blessing, and that he made her life brighter and more beautiful. When asked the reason why she turned down the offer, she said, "I have always made it perfectly clear to Stephen Bing, the father of my son Damien, that I don't want any financial help from him whatsoever." Ruth Clapton, a blessing in disguise. It all started when Eric Clapton fell madly in love with his best friend's wife. This forbidden love would lead to several events that nobody saw coming. Known as one of the most phenomenal guitarists in rock music, Eric Clapton played in some local bands before forming his own rock and roll band with drummer Ginger Baker. He later released several successful albums and songs in the 1970s, and while all these were happening, he found himself falling for his best friend's wife. Eric Clapton and George Harrison got close in the 60s, and their bond grew every day. The duo spent a lot of time together, writing and recording music. Little did George know that a betrayal was lurking in the background. As time went on, Eric fell deeply in love with his best friend's wife, Pattie Boyd. Interestingly, it was said that he didn't hide how he felt, and he made it clear that he wanted her to himself. In the mid-1970s, it was said that Patty Boyd divorced her husband and married Eric Clapton. Although this seemed like a dream come true for Eric Clapton, he soon began to do things that didn't reflect how much he claimed to love Patty Boyd. In the course of their marriage, Clapton's alcohol addiction got the best of him, and he became a shadow of himself. As a result of this, he treated Patty badly and was said to have been involved in multiple affairs. Sadly, while he was doing all this, he and Patty were struggling to have children. Despite trying IVF, all their efforts were unsuccessful, and Patty had several miscarriages. In the early 1980s, Clapton would begin yet another affair, but this time, it led to a pregnancy. The affair began when he was recording Behind the Sun. He met and began a relationship with a lady named Yvonne Kelly, who was the manager of a studio at the time. Shortly after, she got pregnant and had their daughter, Ruth Clapton, in 1985. Because they were both married at the time, they had to keep it a secret from their respective spouses. Patty Boyd later found out and she was utterly devastated, but despite the damage this did to their union, Clapton didn't stop. He went on to have yet another affair with an Italian model named Lori Del Santo. This affair also led to the birth of yet another love child named Connor. Patty Boyd would later reveal how she felt when she found out about the affair and the child. She claimed that Clapton expected a different reaction from her. In her words, "Because he loved me, he believed I would be pleased and happy for him that he had a baby. It was as if I was his best friend that he could tell me everything without realizing how deeply painful this was for me." The couple later went their separate ways, and Clapton is said to have maintained a good relationship with his children. Sadly, Connor passed away when he was only 4 years old. Abby Jason, a 52-year-old secret. Many people know Sir David Jason for his portrayal of the unforgettable Derek Del Boy Trotter in the British sitcom Only Fools and Horses, but very few people know about his personal life and the fact that he recently discovered that he fathered a child from a previous relationship. The actor's career has been undoubtedly phenomenal, and he has made a mark in Hollywood through his roles in several films and series. However, Sir David's journey to fame and recognition was not without its surprises, particularly in matters of family. Amidst his illustrious career, which began to take shape in the 1970s, Sir David found himself entwined in a brief but significant relationship with actress Jennifer Hill. Little did he know that this brief relationship would lead to the birth of his child. During this time, as Sir David was still forging his path in the entertainment industry, his personal life intersected with unexpected twists and turns. One such twist came in the form of a love child, Abby Harris, born in 1970 as a result of his relationship with Jennifer Hill. It was said that the actress, Jennifer Hill, didn't tell Sir David that he was the father of the child. He moved on with his life and got into several other relationships. For over 5 decades, the existence of Abby remained a hidden chapter in Sir David's life, unknown to him and his family. It wasn't until the year 2022, a staggering 52 years later, that the truth finally came to light. The revelation of Abby's existence came as a profound shock to Sir David, a moment he described as an understatement to capture the sheer magnitude of the surprise. However, in this unexpected revelation, Sir David and his family responded with grace and warmth. Embracing Abby and her son Charlie, they welcomed them into their lives with open arms, bridging the length of years that had separated them. The joy of newfound connection outweighed any sense of disbelief or astonishment as Sir David expressed his heartfelt sentiments to the Mirror. Before this revelation, Sir David had already experienced the joys of fatherhood in 2001 when his girlfriend Gil Hinchcliffe gave birth to their daughter. Their relationship blossomed further, culminating in marriage in 2005, and they settled in Ellsborough, Buckinghamshire, building a life together. Wyatt Russell, Love Without Bounds. If there is one Hollywood actor who has always been unapologetic about his views and beliefs, it's Kurt Russell. This is why he saw nothing wrong with having a child with his then-girlfriend, Goldie Hawn. Back then, society frowned upon having children out of wedlock, and the fact that Kurt and his girlfriend were both in the limelight at the time got people talking about their private life. Their love story began after Kurt's divorce from Susan Hurley in 1983. Kurt, having starred alongside Goldie in movies like Swing Shift and Overboard, found a deep connection with the actress that went beyond professional chemistry. Their relationship blossomed over the years, despite never walking down the aisle. Kurt and Goldie's relationship was rock solid, In the mid-1980s, their lives changed when Goldie found out that she was pregnant. This new addition changed their lives forever, and their son, Wyatt Russell, was born on July 10, 1986. Despite being born out of wedlock, Wyatt was welcomed into a loving family that transcended traditional norms. Kurt and Goldie's decision not to marry was a conscious one. In a candid interview with People magazine in December 2020, Kurt expressed that they never felt the need for a marriage certificate to validate their relationship. He eloquently stated that a piece of paper wouldn't create anything they didn't already have. As someone who was married before, he believed that he didn't need to get a piece of paper to solidify what he had with Han. He believed that what they shared was strong and worth fighting for. Their unconventional yet enduring love story has stood the test of time, as they both worked on growing their careers. Their commitment to each other and their family goes beyond societal expectations, proving that love knows no bounds, not even the bounds of marriage. Interestingly, their son Kurt is following their footsteps and building his career as an actor. Wyatt Russell, born into a family that defied conventional norms, has charted his own unique path in Hollywood, paralleling the non-traditional approach his parents took. From his early days, Wyatt was immersed in an environment that valued personal choice and creative freedom over societal expectations. Initially pursuing a career in hockey, Wyatt played professionally in Europe and North America until injuries led him to retire from the sport. This shift in career paths opened a new door for Wyatt into the acting world, a domain both his parents had excelled in. As an actor, Wyatt Russell has brought a distinct presence to the screen, characterized by an authenticity and charisma that seem to echo his upbringing. His transition from sports to acting wasn't just a change in profession, but a continuation of the storytelling legacy of his family. Wyatt's roles, such as his portrayal of John Walker in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, showcase his ability to navigate complex characters, often imbuing them with a nuanced vulnerability. His performance in this series was particularly lauded for adding depth to a controversial character, reflecting Wyatt's skill in embracing and interpreting challenging roles. This ability to connect with diverse roles speaks to his upbringing in a family that embraced differences and encouraged expression beyond traditional frameworks. Dina Norris, her father's love. Chuck Norris, the well-known actor and screenwriter, grew his career to a point where he became well-respected. However, along the line, he cheated on his wife and fathered a daughter, but he didn't know about his love child until she wrote him a letter in 1991. But before we get into the full story about the affair, let's go back to the very beginning. When Chuck Connors was in high school, he fell in love with his schoolmate, Diane. The pair would later get married when Chuck was 18 years old. Chuck spent the following years building his career until he and his wife welcomed their first son, Mike, in 1962. It seemed like their marriage was thriving, but Chuck's wife had no idea that her husband would cheat on her the following year. Around that time, the actor worked as a martial artist, training several celebrities in Hollywood. He also went on to appear in several films like An Eye for an Eye and Missing in Action. He became famous in the action film genre and garnered a lot of fame as a result of his performances. However, after several years of building a successful career, a secret that he had kept hidden for several years resurfaced. In the early 1960s, while stationed in California with the U.S. Air Force, he got into an affair with a woman named Johanna. It was later revealed that he never told the woman he was married, and by the time she found out, it was too late. Their affair later came to an end, but Chuck had no idea that this chapter of his life was far from being closed. Johanna got pregnant for him and had the baby, but she didn't tell him about the child until he found out years later. In the early 1990s, Chuck was going about his life when he got a shocking letter from a young woman claiming to be his daughter. Despite her mother's persistent warning not to reach out to Chuck, she desperately wanted to have a relationship with her father, so she decided to reach out. Interestingly, Chuck instantly believed her and arranged to meet with her and her mother. Chuck would later reveal that he didn't need a DNA test to confirm that she was his. He embraced her, and they both wept. In his words, "I didn't need DNA or blood tests." He revealed that in that moment, he felt like he had known her all his life. Since then, he has been an active part of her life and has continued to build the bond between them. It is clear that the actor loves his daughter and is now making up for lost time.